Today we're talking with director Brett Morgen about the new documentary Moonage Daydream, all about the work and life of David Bowie. And Brett, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Sean. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm a huge David Bowie fan, so this documentary means a great deal to me. It's pretty incredible. Talk about why you decided to tackle the life of David Bowie.
Before I decided to do David Bowie, I had decided to do something called the IMAX music experience. And the reason I wanted to do this was IMAX has the greatest sound system in the world. And I wanted to kind of take over that space to create a kind of intimate and sublime encounter experience with my favorite artists. I was like, I don't need to hear anyone ever say again, the first time I heard a song on the radio, I wanted to do something that just invited the audience to engage in the most cinematic way with their favorite recording artist. And I was going down that path with the Beatles, and David Bowie passed. And I couldn't think of a better artist built for the system. Of course, most of us have a strong love of all things Bowie, but Bowie's always been a kind of mystery and an enigma. Mm-hmm. And so I think that there's an endless curiosity and fascination, and my timing, I guess, was perfect because I called the estate about a month after David passed. I'd met with David in 2007 to discuss a project even way back then. And his executor remembered me and said, David had saved everything for the years, but he never wanted to participate in a traditional documentary. Mm-hmm. So this might be, really apropos. And that was back in 2016. So it's been a 7-year journey, labor of love. And I'm just couldn't be happier with the fact that this weekend and all over the world, audiences are going to get to experience Bowie in a way that they've never really got to experience him, I think.
It had to be just such an honor for you to be able to look into those archives and see what's in there and maybe find things that people hadn't seen before.
I mean, I spent 2 years, 6 days a week, 14 hours a day looking at footage, which was the 2 greatest years of my career. And, the stuff that I found that had never been seen before that we're bringing out into the world included, there was a concert shot in 78 at Earl's Court, London on 5 35mm cameras, recorded on 24-track audio, had not been processed or developed. Okay? This is the greatest filmed performance of David Bowie's career. We found the Jeff Beck with the Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars and the Penn Baker film that was never put in the film, doing Gene Genie, Love Me Do. We found David in Buffalo doing in 75 on the Soul Tour, which had never, not one frame had ever been leaked. We found a Let's Dance raw materials that was able to edit from a show at the beginning of the Serious Moonlight Tour that will just blow you away. And it was all sound designed and sound mixed by the Academy Award-winning team behind Bohemian Rhapsody. And that was really, what I wanted to do was to be able to experience Bowie in a uniquely cinematic way.
I'm almost choked up just hearing that, just how exciting that is about that, because like I said, I'm a huge David Bowie fan. It's pretty incredible what you've got here, and just the process of putting that together, and now, of course, getting to show that to people. What was it like for you to show that to the Bowie estate?
That was a little. The film was finished. I mean, the Bowie estate. The first thing they said to me is, "David's not here to authorize or approve this, so it's not going to be Bowie on Bowie. It's Brett Morgen on Bowie." Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, they refused. Bill Zisplat, the executor, was David's one of his closest friends and confidants, and had been with him for 40 years. And there would be, an occasion where I'd say, "Hey, Bill, should I do this or should I do that?" And he'd be like, "That's your problem." They never wanted to put their fingerprints anywhere near this film. It was always designed to be one artist's interpretation of another. And when I eventually showed them the film, he sent me an email the night before the premiere at Cannes in which he said, "You've done the impossible. You have brought the man whom I knew so well and intimately through life back to us. And, to hear that from the people who were closest to him, we similar response from Bono and from so many of David's colleagues and friends through the years. And the fact, I only met Bowie once for an hour and a half. So everything I did was based on all the media. Now, I had an advantage that no one else has really had, which is we had access to everything in the Bowie archive plus everything that existed outside the Bowie archive. Mm-hmm. So I believe I've seen every piece of known media related to Bowie and was able to kind of turn that into a sort of cinematic spectacle, mm-hmm. the type that we just can't get at home.
Absolutely.
The type that, when we're in this, and it was crazy during the pandemic. I was alone cutting the film and thinking, because I'd made a vow that I didn't want this thing ever to be on television or home video, that this was only this. It was like, you can film going down a roller coaster, but it's not the same as being on a roller coaster. You can watch a YouTube video of some ride, but it's just not the same thing. And so I'm so exhilarated right now on the eve of the release that audiences around the world are going to be invited to hear David Bowie and see David Bowie like they never have before. Bruce Marco, the chief technology officer at IMAX, when he saw the material for the first time, was completely blown away and said that this was possibly the greatest use of their sound system, and said to us something that I found so apropos or fascinating, which was the 78 footage, which was Tony Visconti mic'd himself on 24 tracks. He said, they had the technology in the 70s to record this, but they could never have imagined what it would sound like in Dolby Atmos and 12.0 IMAX in 2022. And that, I think, is going to really shock audiences at the sort of how the clarity of the recordings and we did 650 hours of work on the color and getting these images refined and pristine so that you can go to your IMAX theater or your local cinema, because to be quite honest, whether you see it in IMAX or in a cinema, you are definitely getting a better sound experience mm-hmm. than you will at home. And we mixed the film discreetly for every medium because we really wanted that to be it's the form is the content in the show. That's why we're trying to engage with people and offer them a reason to come to the cinemas again and experience the magic and the mystery and the beauty of David Bowie.
Well, Brett Morgen, you've given a gift to every Bowie fan in the world, and I think on behalf of all of them, I can say thank you for that. We're looking forward to seeing Moonage Daydream in IMAX theaters and regular cinemas across the country this weekend. Brett, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.